Smith.
Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and in truth, my role could not be more modest, and yet it could not be more fun, because I have the pleasure of saying just a few words before I get to introduce the next speaker. I actually think it's sometimes worth pausing for a moment and reflecting just a bit on how fortunate all of us are to do what we do and to live where we live. I mean, think about what we get to do. We get to be part of the really defining trend of our times, the development of new technology that is changing the world. And we get to do it here in Seattle, a place that we increasingly like to call the cloud capital of the world, and it's no longer just because of the weather. It's pretty amazing that last night, Baidu became the 100th company headquartered outside of our region to put an engineering office here. It is a great reflection of everything that is happening here. And when you think about what we do in the tech sector, a few things are clear. First, we do what we do to serve the world. Literally, our customers are around the world. In many ways, our customers are the world. They certainly reflect the diversity of the world. The other thing we all know, those of us who work in this industry, is the only way that we can serve the world is to bring the world together under our own roofs. And that's why we are among the most diverse companies in this country and indeed on the planet. It's why we at Microsoft are proud of the fact that we have employees across Lake Washington who've come to the United States from 157 countries around the world. We create jobs for people who grow up here in Washington State, but they get to work side by side from some of the best and brightest people who've come here from literally every other nation. And if we're going to continue to serve the world, if we're going to continue to create jobs here, if we're going to continue to lead the world as a nation in innovation, we need to keep making room for more people. And there's two ways we do that. One is by creating more opportunities for people who grow up here. That's why I've been so enthusiastic about the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship Program. I think it's one of the great local jewels of our state because it is unique in the country. It is a combination of private donations and state government support that together have raised almost $200 million to enable people who grow up in this state to go to college and get a STEM degree. Of course, we also know that we need to make room for people who come from other places as well, hence our strong support for issues like immigration. Now, of course, here in October of 2017, one of the big issues of the month, of this part of the year, is Daca and the needs of the dreamers. And when we think about our dreamers, they bring both of these things together. They represent some of the great talent that has come to this country from around the world, and they also are people who have grown up here. And I think the 800,000 dreamers in this country represent almost a uniquely important humanitarian need. Because what is before the country is the question of whether we as a nation will deport people back to countries that they don't even know. In many instances, these are people who came to us at the age of 8, or the age of 3, or the age of 10. We would not be deporting them back to their home. We would be deporting them away from their home. And that's one of the reasons that we as a company have been so firmly of the view that this is a cause worth standing up to address. It's why we at Microsoft said that we're making Daca legislation in Congress one of our top priorities. And we've said that if the government seeks to deport any of the 44 employees who work at Microsoft who are registered under Daca, they will have to do so by coming through us, because we will provide legal representation. We will ensure that their legal rights are represented, that their voices are heard. If they have to go to court, we will stand by their side and file our own voice through an amicus brief or by seeking to intervene as a company. Now, ultimately, People debate this issue. They hear numbers like 800,000, and they say this is a big number. But what we know is that every number has a name, every name is a person, and every person is an individual. And when we have the opportunity to meet individuals who are dreamers, I think it helps us appreciate all the more why this issue matters so much. That's why I feel so fortunate to introduce our next speaker. She mostly grew up here in Washington State. She goes to college in Washington State. She's a junior at Western Washington. She works in part to put herself through college. She's majoring and has 2 minors, and she is one of the proud participants in the Opportunity Scholarship Program. And she's a dreamer. She's the oldest of 4 siblings. She's a junior who will become the first in her family to get a college degree. She is a great representative and ambassador of all of the dreamers that we're standing up to protect. She has things far more important than I have to say. So let me introduce you to her. Let us all welcome Sonali Ramirez.
Like many of you, I'm a dreamer. My first dream for my future was to learn English and retain it. I knew I had to do this in order to communicate for me and my family. I was 8 years old when I came to this country, and the environment, the language, the people, and the culture were so different. I was shocked. New worlds and new connections. Soon after arriving, I learned that my 1-year-old brother was deaf. So, English, along with American Sign Language, were the new languages I had to learn. I was the type of child that liked teaching others what I had just learned. I had a laptop that my uncle had given me. It was missing a couple keyboard buttons, and it glitched a lot. But I loved that laptop. You probably don't remember your first English word, but I do. It was because. That word linked cause and effect in my world, a world that was changing so rapidly. I remember coming home from school, excited to teach my parents what I had just learned. Picture this: a 10-year-old girl organizing a teaching lesson, making 2 adults sit in these little red chairs at a child's table and trying to get them to pay attention. As tired as they were from work, they would sit down and listen to me. I remember sitting in school where my classmates and my teacher all spoke English. I would watch them speak, curious and outsider. I was placed in ELL, English Language Learner classes, and I was there for 2 years. Fast forward 3 years, and I'm no longer in ELL, but I'm in honors classes. My motivation for working so hard in school was my family, and particularly my brother. My parents never went to college, and I knew my brother needed someone to look up to. I fell in love with coding and technology when I was given an assignment called An Hour of Code. I loved creating an interactive algorithm that, by the time I was finished, I would press a button and watch the magic unveil. 2 years later, I was a Code.org intern working in downtown Seattle and meeting other software engineers. I remember thinking that it was so amazing how you could use coding to better websites, apps, and lives. My second dream was to go to college. And for many people like me, that seemed like an impossible dream. I remember being in school and learning that students like me were not able to go to school. But that's when I learned about the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship. I remember I was so interested in STEM that I decided to go ahead and apply. When I received the email that said that I was accepted as one of the many opportunity scholars, I cried. The Washington State Opportunity Scholarship is by far the most generous and supportive scholarship I have ever had the pleasure of receiving. I want to thank WSOS and my parents for their unconditional love and support. The Washington State Opportunity Scholarship means to me is beyond the financial help. It has also given me the support to connect, network, and learn to ask for help. I was part of the Skills to Shine mentorship program, and that gave me the tools to connect with a mentor. WSOS has been a blessing. I am ecstatic the Dreamers are eligible to apply. This is the power of removing barriers, allowing these students to feel just as appreciated and valued as other scholars. It gives all students the opportunity to contribute to Washington's high-demand workforce. Today, I am a very, very proud junior at a college that I truly love and appreciate, Western Washington University, pursuing MIS, which is Management Information Systems, and double minoring in computer science and theater. I am pursuing MIS because I want to take the skills that I learn and create new websites and apps and enhance already existing ones. I want to be a system analyst who improves an already adapted system and makes it even better. And my next dream is to develop an app that helps both deaf and speaking people learn and retain American Sign Language more efficiently. Dreamers are so called because they have dreams to fulfill. My ultimate dream is that one day we treat all humans equally, regardless of status and race. This is why I'm proud to be a dreamer. And I invite all of you to dream along with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Citlaly. Thank you. That was such an amazing story. Again, I'm Naria Santalucci. I'm the Executive Director of the Opportunity Scholarship, and we're so pleased and honored and very grateful to GeekWire and Bank of America for allowing us to be a part of Geeks Give Back Again. And I just have 3 asks for you all. The first is mentor. So Citlaly mentioned this, our Skills That Shine program. Every single one of you in this room can be a mentor and make a real difference to someone like Citlaly. Secondly, we would love it if you would stop by the B of A booth or the WSOS exhibit table in the exhibit hall and sign up to mentor, sign up to give. Remember that every gift over $250 will be matched by Gary Rubens and then doubled by the state of Washington. So we're really excited about that. And lastly, everyone who signed up for the summit actually has a seat at our breakfast, which will feature Derek Thompson, author of Hitmakers. And we will send you an email following the summit asking you to claim that seat. That's November 2nd, right here in this very same ballroom. So we'd love to see you. And again, if I could get another round of applause for Citlaly.
Thank you. Thank you.